Hello guys, back with another video, and today I have my, what is this, July wrap up. It's actually August, but I have my July wrap up. Actually I think my June and July wrap up, because I believe the last video I put up, even though it said May and June wrap up, I'm pretty sure it was just my May wrap up. So, um, I will preface this by saying sorry, but not sorry. It's past bedtime, so your girl got her hair covered. Yes, yes, I do. Also, the reading was not huge for either uh, June or July, to be perfectly honest. Um, so when I think it was May was the end of my senior seminar class. Actually, it was a couple of weeks before the end of May. I think it was actually the middle of May. Anyway, as soon as the school year was done at the end of May, beginning of June, I had 1 week break, and then we immediately went into the first session of summer school, and then that was 3 weeks, and then we took a week break. And the first week of July was a week break, and then we came back July 12th, and we went until the last week of July. There has been no break between the last session um, and going back to work for the beginning of this school year. So, in all of that, I don't know if it's in one of my YouTube videos or maybe my TikTok videos, or I know for sure it's on my social media. But I got a job as a fifth grade teacher. Yes. So, there's been a lot of new teacher training, new hire, new teacher training. So I have been busy reading professional development stuff. I've also been trying to do my own personal PD for Khan Academy to kind of help me with the execution of teaching math, and also Google Educator PD. Those are my own separate, on my own pace sort of thing, and Nearpod. I'm also trying to get in Nearpod. So there's a lot of videos for me to watch. I'm not gonna lie, when I get off work, I just want to go to sleep. So there's not a whole lot of reading. I did start a vlog, but I lost my book of a book that I am going to put on the August TBR if I can find the book so I can finish the vlog. I think there's only like 8 chapters in the book, so it's not very long. It's a short book, but I mean, y'all know this is my spot on the couch. I lost the book. I can't figure out where it's at. But anyway, I'm jabbering. So let's see. One of the books that we read together as a class, first session, we did 4 chapters a day. They're short chapters. And we were able to get through the entire book as a class in 3 weeks. And it is Fish in a Tree. Really great book. I don't know if I had mentioned this in my last video. I watched it and I didn't see it, but some parts I did have to fast forward because I was just trying to get an idea of what I had put on that video. But Fish in a Tree, great book. It highlights the main character, who is dyslexic. I think that's kind of a spoiler, but you know that she has trouble with reading. She doesn't have necessarily a processing issue, like when things are told to her that she can't process them. It's that, well, I mean, if you know dyslexia, is that they see letters and numbers different than we do. So it's not impossible for them to learn. It just takes a little bit longer. Great book. Great book. My students actually absolutely loved it. I didn't have an IEP for this for a particular student who we were pretty sure that, you know, he had dyslexia. But this student in particular loved this book more than um, the other students, but the class as a whole absolutely loved the book. What was so cool about reading this book as a class is that I sent a post on TikTok to Linda Hunt about me reading this with a class, and then she tweeted a tweet back, and it was awesome. And I shared that with the class, and they were so super happy. Um, so that was one. I read this one myself. It is called Freak the Mighty. And this book choked me up so bad. I actually thought I was going to cry. I didn't, but I was ready to, and I was almost there, like a couple away from there. But this book is about a very short kid who is friends, becomes really good friends, best friends with with a classmate that's taller than he is. The bigger, taller classmate is, I think he has processing delay. But Freak is the genius in the relationship, in the friendship. Um, Amazing friendship. I can't even begin to describe it without giving away every single thing. Um, I don't know what is on the cover of this book because I read this book on my Overdrive app, so I don't know really what like the summary or preface of the book was, but amazing. Definitely think that this is a book that is worth the read with fourth and fifth graders, because kids witness and is a part of death when it comes to classmates, and um, it's one thing when there's a death in the family and you have your family there to help you process it, but it's another when it's a classmate and your family isn't, not that they're not there to comfort you, but they're not there to see the extent of your relationship with that classmate because it takes place at school. Some of their friendship was outside of school because they lived, I think it was like down the street from each other or around the corner from each other. But I don't know. I think that this is one way that kids will know that they're not alone. Um, and I don't know. It's just whew, great read. All right, one short read that I liked. I didn't love, but I liked it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. And the reason I end up giving it 4 stars is because it was straight to the point, easy read. There was nothing wrong with the story. It wouldn't be one that I would reread, but it was definitely worth the first read. And I thought it was cool. I don't think that it's necessary for me to give it anything lower than a 4 star, because it wasn't like it was just like average. It was more than average, just not one that I would read again, because it's one of those like typical uh, Law and Order shows, type of read. You read it one time, you got what you need out of it. It's good. It's called The Gingerbread Girl by Stephen King. This one wasn't as gory or um, what word, crazy like some of Stephen King's other books. I did enjoy the read. And it was one of those books. Another reason I gave it a 4 star, because it was one of those books that you could not put it down. So I did this entire book in one sitting. I definitely couldn't put it down. Next one is called Ghosts in the Headlights by Lindsay Duga. It is a 3 through 6 or 3 through 7 read. Um, this kind of gave me nostalgia, like goosebump nostalgia. Only I think that um, the thriller or a horror in this is a little bit like a notch up from Goosebumps, maybe more like Fear Street. Um, but really good. I think she is going to be another good author for me. I don't typically, if I'm not reading it for the purpose of reading it for my oldest son before he reads it, or for like my classmate, or not say my classmates, my students, to make sure I'm not putting anything crazy on the shelves, because I do know I have students that like horror. Um, Scholastic is one of the people that is public or not publishing, but selling the book. So you can see it's a Scholastic read. So we know that it's good for a school. Great book, great ghost story, great paranormal. Um, at one point, it actually had my anxiety running, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? I don't think that this book is for a 3 through 6 or 7th grader with a faint of heart. Like with a, if you scary, don't read it. Look, I'm just, if you know you got scary kids, don't let them read it. Really good for it to be for a smaller group of kiddo audience. Next one, New Kid. This book is great. Highly recommend for this time. I think this book is, I just think it's amazing. I gave it 5 stars. We read this as a class in the second session when we came back in July. We were able to read a chapter a day, and it actually got us all the way up to the second to last day of school. This would be a book that I would reread over and over again, recommend to people. This book definitely had social, racial discussions around it, but it wasn't one to where it was like an older kid discussion about like literally saying, oh, it's because I'm black. It's more of like the conversations that need to be had. Like, you don't realize that you're treating me different because I'm black. You don't really bother to get to know my name, to call me my name. You just call me, you know, like one of the issues in the book where was that there are 3 black kids that go to this school, and they were all being confused with each other. And it was literally because the teacher knew everyone else's name in the classroom except for those 3. And it was just bringing up those discussions, like, she doesn't even bother to get to know my name. This is frustrating. And then also just problems within the home. Not that there were like financial issues, although that is a stereotype that is talked about in the book, that some of the teachers, or one of the teachers, just assumed that because I think it was like one of the black kids were there on a scholarship, that they all had financial issues. There was also the stereotype that just because you were there on a scholarship that you were poor. And I mean, there's some people that are very much so far from poor that go to school on a scholarship. Like that, I don't think that is. Um, I think that is a crazy stereotype. Anywho, but the issues in the home is more of um, my parents making decisions for me when it comes to school and not really listening to me. And how do I get them to listen to me but still be firm in their decisions that they have for me? To consider my feelings in them making decisions for me. It really, really good. And it was also not just a discussion of like race within friendships, but it was also like, hey, on the white friends, and it was like, hey, Jordan, who is our main character, the light skinned black kid here, he's the main character. But it was like the white friend asking him, like, hey, don't judge me. When you come over, don't judge me. Like, I know we have a lot of money. I know, my parents are, whatever, rich, and we have all this stuff, but don't judge me. So he's kind of ashamed in a way of having all this money, and his parents not really fully understanding things that they could potentially do is like considered racist, not on purpose, but I don't know. It was just a really good book. Um, and then the last book that I read was The Lost Apothecary. This one I did have some assistance with listening with the audiobook because I really, really, really wanted to read all of this all in one day, but I ended up reading it within a week. There was a lot of training, and I think I had I think it was like maybe 30 minutes here and there. So what I did was for 15 minutes, I read the book, and then the next 15 minutes, which I was most likely I was in the car, because that's the only time I actually listened to the audio, is when I was in the car driving. So then the other 15 minutes I would be in the car listening to it. But this is also a really good read. I believe I also gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This to me was just like a cool little what do you call it? Academia, but young adult novel, family issues, but curiosity, character growth. What do I want for myself? Am I going to continue to let others make decisions for me? And then just digging into history and finding, cool apothecary stuff. And I like how the apothecary story kind of aligns with hers, but not like in a perfect alignment. A lot of stories where there's like multiple point of views from way back when to present, sometimes they align like perfectly well, and then other times they're just kind of like a little overlap. And I think this one was a little overlap, but it was really good. Recommend it. But that's all I have for you guys. Those were all my books that I read for 2 months. So not much, but it is what it is. So my August TBR is already up. I don't think that I'm going to read a whole lot because the beginning of the school year is going to start on the 23rd. And I still have more training to complete this week in convocation, in more state exams, and a lot of stuff I have to do. But that is my wrap up, and thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.